Hi guys, and welcome to a very wet and quite a soggy autumnal day here at Dragonair's Club. So what we're going to be doing in this video is a follow-up to the last video where it was a mossy frog informational one. In this video we're going to be collecting materials and building up the new enclosure for the mossy frogs and then moving them in and just watching them grow. So first thing we need to do is grab those materials, so let's go see what we can find. Okay, so stop number one, moss. So we're going to need quite a lot of this. So this is one of the spots where I collect the moss from. So we're going to be harvesting some of this, bringing it back and putting it into the enclosure. And then, once we've done that, we'll go and have a look for some other bits. So we want to find something like this, but smaller, not as big. Let's see if we can find a nice little fern. Right. Perfect. This is what we want. Just finding damp pieces of wood like this. So I'm going to come back, grab a couple more pieces of this, and we'll get cracking. Of course, the first thing we have to do when we come home is obviously say hello to the guinea pigs. So, say hello. You gonna come give kisses? You gonna come give kisses? Hey, Teddy. Big schnoz. So I was quite fortunate with this enclosure. I actually bought it with the cork bark already attached to the sides, which is perfect for a mossy frog build. The tank itself is a 60 by 45 by 60. I've layered some pea shingle on the right hand side. You can see it wrapped up in the cloth. That's going to be the base for where I put all of the plants in this enclosure, and then around the bowl itself I've just put a load of filter foam. Next on the list of things to do is to add the pieces of mossy wood that we found out in the forest. So I'm just going to spend some time layering these, finding a good way so that the frogs can utilise all of the space within the enclosure. Next up, I'm going to start adding all of the moss that we found outside in the forest as well. So this is going to be placed all around the pool area. And now all the moss is down on the floor, we're going to start throwing in some soil and then planting can begin. I've introduced a multitude of different plants into this enclosure, including a fern that I found from outside in the forest whilst I was collecting the wood, and a multitude of plants from a local garden centre that are typically known to enjoy high humidity environments. So this tank features two pools. I've got the larger deep pool at the bottom, and then I have a smaller pool at the top that I purchased from a local reptile shop, which when full drips into the larger pool. There's one. Mossy froggo number one. Look how gorgeous it is. When we put these in, we're probably never gonna see them again. Cool, there's one. Okay, mate, come on. There's a good froggy. There you are. There you gotcha. He's a bit smaller. There we go, mossy frogs in the new house. Okay, so as you can see, we've got this tube here and the filter attached to it, so that just stops all the debris from what goes into the pool from blocking the tubes. Yep, and that then runs all the way to the top. So we have the two tubes, here we go, that come through. So this one is from the bottom pool, goes straight into the pump, and then the water comes out, the little pool that's up here. And then we have a small hole that's just within this moss, and this helps to control how much water comes out of the pool, because mossy frogs do not like a lot of water flow. They much prefer much slower, calmer water. So occasionally I'll switch it on for a couple of hours, and it will just create the odd drip then. It'll just come down. It helps to keep the moss nice and damp as well, as you can see at the moment, because I left the pump on for a few hours yesterday. The water has collected down here, so I'm going to let all of this dry out before I switch it back on again. But that's absolutely fine. Underneath all of this is just foam, so once all this foam has gone, I mean, it's doing a really good job anyway of keeping the rest of the soil nice and damp, so I don't actually have to water this at all. It's at the point now where it's just pretty much self-sustaining, which is awesome. Yeah, in the morning there's a lot of condensation in the tank until I switch the jungle dawn light on. That helps to dry the enclosure out through the day, and then through the night the condensation starts and the moisture starts picking up again. I may well give it the odd spray over on areas like this where the moss is getting a lot more contact with the jungle dawn light, and it is drying it out just a little bit, but not enough to do enough damage. So as long as I keep it hydrated and sprayed, it should still be absolutely fine. I did have a lot of mushrooms in here. This tank has been going now for about, I want to say about 2 months, and the original mushrooms that I had, well, fungi, they've all gone now. So we do have more coming through, as you can see here, and this will just keep on growing. Usually they cycle for a good 2 years, and then they stop. But we have so much wood in here that the fungi themselves will likely just keep sprouting. So that's really cool. That's the kind of thing you really want to see in a tank like this. The fungi indicates that the conditions within the tank are really, really healthy, which is amazing. Everything is doing really good. So the mossy frogs themselves hate clean water, so I collect both rainwater, which I'll use to top this pool up, or I'll just add a little bit of chlorinated water, and then I'll throw in some jungle leaves to help with the tannins of the pool. They love this. It helps to keep the mossy frogs really, really healthy, so that's just something to keep in mind if you do plan to have mossy frogs. Mossy frogs don't lay in the pool. They lay in the wood above the pool. So I've tried to create enough area for the mossy frogs when they're ready to start laying their eggs as well. And it's really good to try and fine-tune their environment with the humidity, because the higher the humidity, the more chance you have of your mossy frogs breeding, because they typically only breed in the monsoon season when it's really, really wet. So that's another good reason, if you're planning to do this and breed the mossy frogs, that you also involve a water system as well. As you can see, I have included a variety of plants in this tank. This one, I've been told, is a little bit questionable because of the little hairs on it. I've had no problem so far. I may well decide to still take it out. Plants like this, they just do incredible. This one is really doing well. It just keeps flowering, which is really nice, and it just adds a bit of colour to it as well. So this is one of those sticky fly catching plants, and because I use rainwater in the tank, it's just doing awesome. I've never had a tank before where these types of plants have done really well. Usually they wilt, maybe within like a week or two, but this one absolutely loves it, so that's awesome. I've also got the Fittonia, and because again the soil is really damp and I don't have to water it, it's not like waterlogged or anything. I still have the stone base that I laid with the weed membrane and then the soil base. So yeah, all of these plants are just doing incredible. They're all rooting in already. This one is going absolutely nuts, and I kind of really love the colour as well, like that lovely orangey kind of colour. Again, bringing in different colours rather than just green to the tank. But yeah, all of this is doing really well. With the so with the moss at the back and with the climbing plants, I've actually used some U-shaped screws. You can see one just here. Yeah, so they're really good just for encouraging where you want these climbers to grow, so that they just don't go everywhere and completely block out space. They do grow fast, so if you also want to keep space within your tank, you're going to want to keep an eye on that and just keep it trimmed and keep it neat too. But yeah, these guys have been doing really well. They're calling out to each other. I'm not entirely sure as of yet. I think you can see one. Yeah, it just looks like a blob of moss. Can't really see him because I'm not going to be able to zoom in. But that green blob that you can see, just about, that is a mossy frog. There is another one in this pool, but I don't know where. They're very good at hiding through the day. And then just as another option that I've done just to help, again, increase humidity, you can tell it's working because you can see well, it's like possible rust actually on that, which I'll need to keep an eye on, but that's basically like a condensation barrier. So the water will evaporate, and then at night it collects and then drips back down, and that just helps to keep everything nice and wet, which just helps with having an environment with much higher humidity also. But yeah, so I think that pretty much covers this mossy frog build here. I am soon going to go back in at the back there with some more moss. As you can see, it's kind of fallen down into the pool. And that fern is doing so good. It's really cool to see it actually, because it sort of, in the morning it's very folded in, and then throughout the day it just unravels itself, and it's growing quite well. So when that becomes a big fern, that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I think they're really happy in here. So you can see there's also like a mossy area just at the back there as well, with some wood and different bits. So yeah, loads of space for them to run around, well, to hop around and do different bits and bobs. As I say, I didn't clean the wood, I didn't treat it or anything before this went in. There's bugs that I knew were on it that I introduced into the tank. They help to just keep everything really healthy, and that is it. That is the build. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you all for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Bye guys!